Really?
Yeah.
Alright, we're live?
It seems like it.
Looks like we're live.
Start bantering.
Alright, aloha guys. Pleasure to be live. I want to give you an update on my life. I'm feeling good, and why that is, what I've been working on, and delve into my current. As you know, I'm always refining my philosophies. So, I've been doing different construction work. It's keeping me mentally and physically, focused. Doing some gym stuff too. I've also been working on my ideas. I call it Shield Heart, as you may know, and it's all about protecting oneself and the mind and those you care about, and that how that extends out into the world to create a more harmonious existence between us as humans. And yeah, so let's start with daily actions. I just want to make an easy, a quick one that, if there's nothing else you take from this stream, just start off with this moment here in the beginning. So, uh, every day, right, you have choices to put yourself in a place where you're at peace and you're feeling good about yourself. You're feeling empowered, and you're also safe. You're safe from difficulties. You're safe from problematic people, people who want they want to extract something from you, be it your money, your body, your time. And so let's focus on that. So point one, I'm into entering in the physical realm. We we need to abide by the laws of the jungle. That means to know where we are, that there are potential dangers out there. So laws of the jungle, and that includes having the appropriate clothing on and having some money on you. I recommend everyone at least $200 in 20s. It's emergency money. Having basically having your basic needs met, your so that you don't need anything from other people. You want to have options for transportation. That's the money for taxi or bus if there's an issue with your car, or just always check whatever you're doing. Always just think about it. Think what could go wrong, right? So it's not ideal to have to rely on self-defense or the police or security coming to your aid, because it's best to just avoid all of that. So it's realizing that everybody has an agenda around you. Everyone has motivations, and so to figure out what those are, and give and seek space. Give, seek space. And then determine motivations. Okay, so and then we get into the mental aspect of things, where you're having a sense of, and by the way, for physical, so that was carry the money around 200. Also, you can carry around pepper spray, but don't assume that's going to work. Whistle. Never assume any of this will work. It's just something to quickly surprise somebody, and uh, you know. Um, and so to protect your mental well-being, I have this whole idea of being committed to oneself, which is in effect, like they talk about commitment in marriage, right? So it's like you're married to yourself. You're like in the vibration of love, and it's you. So this has to do with knowing what you want, right? So you can have a schedule, can write down your schedule. You can have a list that you can always refer to. For example, is particular qualities that you like in people, that's who you are. You know, the more and more that you know that, the more you can make decisions and have clarity and not be just distracted by if you happen to think somebody is rich or they seem attractive. You know, it's like, you know, don't let those emotions drive your decision making process. Use the logic of, okay, this is who I am, and the science of it, and there's some structure to your life, so you have a schedule of what you're doing, and then you can say no as necessary because you have a clear understanding of your what you want. And that's the mental. And then one thing I do, like I was saying, commitment, I have these little bracelets. They have a shield heart on them that you can put in front of your heart. People need to, life is about habits. Life is about the habits that we build, and then we rely upon those habits. So then you're operating on like 1,000 good habits that manifest themselves throughout the week, and that allows you to live a better and better life. And then you add more. So that's that. Daily activities. Another thing that that can be done every day is it's this idea of like you're, and I said you're committed to someone. It's like imagining that you're married to someone, and just imagine how that feels. So this is I'm going to call this what are we going to call it? Like something you do every day. So daily. So commitment affirmations, let's call them. Okay. 1 second here. And then I'm going to go into more and more details. But this is all my most current ideas. This is just an overview, and then I'll get more specific. So commitment, right? Affirmations. And how do we this is all about self-empowerment. When you're committed to yourself, you can imagine you're already married to someone, because the commitments that you have to yourself correlate to values and interests, and that is what you're aligned with in your life. And so the person that you would be aligned with, imagine that, because at all times, we're always, the default mind is always like hoping people like you in different ways, and so in order to transcend that constant cycle of, well, hopefully they like me, you gotta imagine you're already married. Okay. And this allows you to, you imagine that feeling of not worrying about people liking you. Not worrying. Okay, about people liking you. Liking you. And that's true peace. That's truly a sense of like not depending on others, but rather you're committed to yourself, and it's like you're looking on the internally instead of the external world for your affirming and just being committed to something like that's why people, whenever, and I think everyone has a religion, whatever they're committed to, it is a religion. They should just be conscious of what exactly that consists of, and what values are important. For some people, their religion is just being ambitious. For some, it's being really physically fit. For some, it's just trying to enjoy life to the most. So whatever that means for you. And then other daily actions, like I wear a wedding band that shows my commitment to myself. So wedding band, and yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna take a picture of that, and then we'll go on to the next one. Do we do we see the stream?
You're good.
I know, but do you see the stream? Is there?
Totally.
I know, but actually, I'll just pull it up on my camera because I want to see. I want to.
Everything's fine, bro.
I know, no. I'm talking about if there's any viewers.
There's 3 viewers.
Okay, okay, good. We've got a few people watching. All right, I want to see the. I want to see. Let's see. Oh, cool. I see some people from. See, I used to stream a. I used to stream a long time ago, guys, and I had fun with that. Pleasure to see some viewers. I don't know if you're still there, Rick or Pirate King, but yeah, it's been I've been just always improving, and I hope you guys have been doing the same. So let's go to the next item. Okay. Let's go to next. I'm gonna talk about. Well, what do you say, chat? What do you guys want to hear about? You want to hear about my ideas for the easiest way to I don't know, what do we want to hear? Let's talk about people managing their let's talk about the second chakra, because that's important. That's people's intimate desires and how that relates to the rest of the world. And so this will be number 2, intimate desires. Okay. Now, people have these, this energy that's yes. Next, I'll make that the next segment. Happiness. Actually, Pirate, I'm gonna modify the word happiness, and I'm gonna use the word joy, because for me, the definition of happiness, the definition of joy is like it's a state of being. Happiness is just like being happy, like more momentary happiness, like you're happy because something specific happened. But yeah, let's see. Intimate desires. So people have them, and you need to realize that you have them and others have them, and they might want your body. So that's point 1. Awareness. You and others. Okay. Have them. Okay. In order to control your desires, self-intimacy is an obvious solution, and it allows you to, not need that from somebody else. So it's not only it's awareness of you, it's the awareness that your desires or other people can control you. Your desires and others can control you. Okay? And so self-intimacy Okay, use of toys. You know, it's, you can think of it as sex with oneself, and the reason that that's important is because you know, you shouldn't have to need that from anybody else, otherwise it makes you reliant upon them. Um, and this is like a very essential energy. It's like, you know, once your basic needs are met, then, you know, once you get into the you know, you start to feel these energies, and that's like even more essential than your emotional wants or, you know, other things. It's like a very core. Obviously, it's a biological, right? So so there's something I call the prostitute paradox, where people they exchange either body for money or body for body. I call that this prostitute paradox. The reason it's a paradox is because when you exchange body for body or body for money, it's it's not, obviously it's not love. It's something that two people would do who, you know, the prostitute and their customer don't respect each other. If they really did, they wouldn't engage in that type of transaction. So thus, we just need to be conscious that our relationships aren't transactional, um, and they're not, and they're based upon the, you know, where we're coming from like a life trajectory that we're. It's like a path. It's like, you know, you don't need somebody else to add to your life. It's like you just want to go on the same path as them, and that's what happens when you're doing your own chakra activation. This is the second chakra, so you could call it second chakra. Right? Activation. Alright, so people don't respect each other, like I was saying, who engage in body for body, body money exchange. So it's what's ironic about it is you wouldn't seduce somebody you really respect, but you know, you would seduce them, and I've been in these same instances where you would seduce somebody because you don't respect them, but you just want to get that sexual kick out of being, you know, with them physically. All right, so that's that. I'm going to take a picture of that, and then we'll move to the next subject. Let's see, and the next subject is going to be, as was requested, the idea of joy. So for me, joy is it's a frequency that is the fourth chakra, which is also known as the heart chakra, and that means, you know, being in your heart space. This is the same space that children are. It's easier for children to occupy because they have yet to reach their post puberty, and so therefore they don't have that second chakra energy. They don't have that desire, you know. Okay, so this is going to be path to joy, point 3. To joy. Believe it or not, a lot of it starts with breathing. Okay, so breathing is something that you do. Is it regulates your emotions. So breathing regulates emotions. Hold on here. And the way it does that is it's breathing. When you get upset at someone, it's not the circumstance, it's not them upsetting you, it's your lack of breathing. Regulates emotions. Okay. So practice that. Practice breathing, full breaths, even when you're upset. Not letting the other person's vibration lower you. And that what that is it's the path to joy. It's staying at a higher vibration. That's obviously like the love frequency. So the joy is what I covered in the last 2 points, but this is specific. This is about feeling joyful, okay? And that's only possible if you only feel joyful. You can't. In order to feel joyful, you can't always be in a state of joy, okay? Because emotions emotional states make you illogical, so that can be a good thing, being happy, yay, happy, right? But you don't want to be that around everyone because, for example, say in a car sales floor, right? What are they doing? They're offering you compliments, getting you excited, making jokes, being an eccentric salesperson, all in the interest of making you not think logically, so maybe you'll buy something more than you otherwise would. And so you can't be joyful all the time. You can't accept compliments, and this happens at work. People get excited or they get upset. You can't do that at work. You've got to be professional and focus on the work being done, and not so much the trying to be friends with everyone or the personalities, and it's actually more professional to not try to persuade somebody to be different than who they are, in a work context. It's more respectful to allow them to exist in their own truth, and so trying to change people, that's going to take you away from your joy. Listening is going to bring you to joy because the path to joy involves knowledge, just like no different than the path to being strong involves practicing a lot in the gym and being joyful is a process, and it requires these steps, these breathing, these being aware of not, don't be emotional in public, I could say. So don't be emotional, be emotional in public. Okay, so what that means, so you want to remain neutral in public, you want to remain calm. Okay, what else kind of leads to joy? Well, obviously, like, joy is an emotion, and so that's the third chakra. I almost think that joy is not even, or happiness is not even the best emotion. I think the best emotion is actually peace, a sense of peace. Okay, sense of peace. Because I think that people only see see things in dualistic terms, like you have to be happy in life, or if I'm upset, I just want to be feeling good, feeling happy. But often the way of feeling the best is just breathing and focusing, and that allows you to stay in the moment. Not that getting excited is a bad thing, but it's just that I think maybe part of this is it's more of a man thing, for the man to remain more focused, and that peace allows him to say uh, you know, create a foundation for a woman to have more emotions, or kids to have more emotions. And again, everything is, everything's relative, depends on the situation, but we're just talking in general. uh, the same goes with, um, uh, people try to want different things. Like they want certain body types, for, that they're attracted to, or they want like new cars, new whatever. Is that the path to joy? I would say that the path to joy is a more subtle one, and it has to do with the man, like kind of celebrating the his like I put these in, quote unquote heteronormative terms, but they would apply just as much to, couples who are LGBTQ, and that's because, it's like sometimes it'd be useful to not think of things in terms of, the sexual features. It just think of things in terms of like two entities, and just how do they coexist? How do you maintain a sense of peace? I mean, do people need to, play roles like a masculine man and a feminine woman? Uh, I I think it's all like there's a way to there's a transcendence of all of that, and that is that when people have the same values, regardless of who's making the income, or who what your kind of individual personalities are. It's if you share the same, like what gets people through the hard times is in fact your spiritual path or your religion. And that's another aspect of being joyful, is or peaceful, is realizing that, in this duality of existence, it's necessary for there to be difficulties, because that allows us to see that there is that allows us to see joy, or the possibility for it, and go towards it. But it should give you a feeling of peace to, realize that we are consciousness. We are fully integrated into everything, and we're, every being, every reincarnation, every uh, every race on every planet of conscious, beings. So there shouldn't be a worry about, you know, what's going to happen. It's just we're all everywhere. We're all pervasive. So, so, but I'm trying to be practical here and not just philosophical. So I'm talking about being joyful every day. Again, the third chakra is what I meant to delve into more. It has to do with emotional wants. When people have emotions, what they want, uh, that can either be satisfied from an external, locus, or an internal sense of focus. And so you want it to be internal, because then it's always consistent, it's always you. So what are some simple steps? Well, exercise, creative activities, okay, like this, and then self-affirmations. Like saying I'm great, or if you walk by someone and you're friendly and they don't reciprocate, they don't say hi back, just say hi to yourself. Just imagine the image of them in your mind saying hello to you, and that's all it takes. This is all a mental thing, guys. Like, like when you're in a place where your basic needs are met, there's no possible danger, then you can start to be, explore more with society. But a lot of it still is about you. It's about managing your own, and not, it's the simple idea of, if you blame others, if you don't take responsibility for where you are and whatnot, then it's always going to be somebody else who's going to be controlling your life. Now I'm going to check the chat, and I'm going to see if let's see. I'm going to see what the next subject matter's request is going to be. Here we go, chat. 1 second, guys. Live chat. Okay. So no updated comments. So I will make a choice as to what I'm going to talk about. Let's see. I take a picture of this, and then we'll go on. Okay. Here we go. Everyone's encouraged to try to consider this. I want to do a fun one. I want to do finding. I want to do finding a finding a spouse. What do I want to call that? Finding. Preparing for marriage, or finding. Let's do preparing for marriage, shall we? Okay. Let's see here. Preparing for marriage. Where are we here? Here we are. So when I say preparing for marriage, it means getting ready for marriage. Being ready. They say when you make yourself ready, the universe presents you with, it meets you halfway. It presents you with what you're looking for. So preparing is, the first thing is, you gotta realize that you'll be matched with somebody who's similar health as you. So health. So how does that work? You get to be with someone of similar health. Okay. Now the reason for that is because this should be an incentive to you to be healthier. Take better care of yourself, because then when you're with that person, you'll kind of feel like you're an equal to them. You won't feel like they're healthier than you, and then there's kind of that dynamic of, well, why am I not as healthy as them, and that type of thing. So that's a good start. Just for example, being in a gym environment or being with other people who exercise will get you in a good mood to exercise, and so that's where you want to start. So you want to realize that you're going to be with and then obviously that's going to correlate to compatibility. Where how many how much vitality do you have, right? And so that would mean, so it's just like realizing that you want to make yourself the best, because, like, for example, like when you have, okay, so when you create when you create a relationship and have children, it kind of locks you into that kind of lifestyle that you or standard of living that you're in, because it doesn't you don't have any extra time to refine your life and like do further education or save up extra money. It's all so being ready is you want to be financially okay, emotionally, and physically prepared. That was physically. And another thing is the list. Remember, on one of the prior points, I'd mentioned that this idea of a list. Now, I call it the list of absolutes and disqualifiers. So, a list of absolutes, and disqualifiers. And this, if you need an easy reminder, think of what I call the cigarette clause. Right. When you're around people, even if you're otherwise physically attracted, you'll find that there are certain things that will instantly turn you off. For example, maybe I should call this something different because I don't want to discriminate against people who smoke tobacco or discriminate against people who do anything. It's not about me, it's about you knowing yourself and knowing what would actually be a functional match, so there was never a sense of one person is better than the other or that there's no cause for argument. This is all about having peace in your life. And yes, some people may be able to have more satisfying sexual experiences with different kinds of people. However, this isn't about getting those excitements. It's not about getting the most money. Or anything. It's about having a sense of peace where there's not like this competitive like, oh, I'm trying to do something, or I've got to I can't be my authentic self, like for example somebody hiding an aspect of them or subduing. Maybe they like a particular kind of music and they like to do that, and so but they hide that because the other person doesn't like it. Now obviously the list should be high. It should be prioritized. So the most important values that you have should be at the top of the list. That way, if somebody, let's say pets, do yes or no to pets. If that's high up on the list of disqualifier, then it should be. But maybe it's like you're like indifferent to it. Like, okay, if they have a pet, fine. Or I have a dog, and if that person doesn't like me having a dog, then I'll give the dog away. So you have to get a feel for, well, what actually do I value. And this is exciting because as on point number 2, I think it was, it just reaching this sense of joy. It's all about self-knowledge, okay, and it's all about self-love, right? It's about existing in that vibration. Okay, so you got your so I want to call, what did I call it? Not cigarette clause, but I was going to call it let's see, maybe I'll call it the disqualifier clause. Just something to try to remember. This should be going through your mind throughout the day. Even if somebody is otherwise attractive to you, otherwise attractive. Okay, and let me try to offer one more consideration for getting ready for marriage. You want to, present your best self. You want to uh, avoid anybody who is not your uh, a potential spouse. So when people say like they'll about what to do with marriage, they'll say like, well, I'd like to get married, or they'll say, or I'd like a life partner, whatever you want to call it. Those two terms are pretty interchangeable. It's like a commitment for life. Whenever people do that, they usually say stuff like in their unconscious mind, or they'll say stuff like, well, this person looks physically attractive. Maybe they can change a little bit, or hopefully they'll like me, or I want all that language to be removed from the process. Rather, it should be, this is who I am. This is who I am. This is who I'm married to. So it's like married to a concept, right? The person obviously they're married to has the same absolute needs, that they have to be something and that they shouldn't be something else. So with that, you will be ready for marriage. But then when you're ready for marriage, then what? Okay. How do you select someone? This is already part of it, because when you're in a good position, yes. But then, how do you get married? Would be the follow-up, right? So now that you're ready, what do you do when you're financially, emotionally, and physically ready? Well, to start off with, okay, you want to decide where the main place that you want to live in the world is. All right, so primary residence. This is important because it has to match up with whoever you're selecting. Selecting a life partner. The last topic, it segued into this one, but this is going to be more about actually you're fully ready, so you want to get married as soon as possible. Part of it has to do with what is marriage. To me, marriage is the marriage ceremony, and you might be wondering, well, what does this have to do with protecting yourself? It's because, at least for me, this is like the constant ongoing dialogue or narrative that I have in my mind, like who likes me, will I always be by myself, or will I be with someone? And then there's this kind of underlying sexual tension. This is with everyone, which is normal. It's normal for people to be attracted to each other, but is that feeling a sense of peace? Is my curiosity, especially for the youth. That's why I think gender separate schooling for K through 12 makes sense, especially since it's our tax dollars paying for it. It should be the cost of it should be used exactly to train people, both in education and physical education, and sports. Obviously, it's all fun, but not not actively promoting like many schools do intimacy, or it just, it's always going to be present, and it's insincere to say otherwise. And plus, we don't want to stifle, you know, we don't want to stifle the energies of desire. It's a great energy, and it creates life, and it creates a feeling of excitement, of desire. It's a good feeling, but you don't want to feel it all the time. And what happens, I think, is when people are always around the opposite gender, or whatever it may be, it's like they have to quiet it down, and that's why people will turn to other they will turn to like substances to quiet their mind, because their mind is like overloaded with like being around people they're attracted to. It's just too much. In some cultures, the husband and wife don't always sleep in the same bed. They might sleep in separate beds, at least during the evening. Maybe obviously I'm not suggesting they shouldn't be having regular physical intimacy. But that brings me to my next point. No dating, because when you date, you engage in verbal and physical intimacy. So, how do we do this? No dating. How do we do that? We have our where we're gonna live established, and then we're likely meet the person that we're interested in somewhere where we're living. Likely meet. And then we might meet your mutual friends, but you wanna just look up their name. You wanna look up their social media profiles online, right? You want to find out who they are. Now, when you look at someone in public, you should have the discernment to actually see, what their style is, how they seem to behave. It should be pretty obvious if you are have at least some similarities, right? But then you do want to look up their social media, and then if there's an interest, you can exchange all types of information. You can exchange intimate life details through either email, video chat. So this is a question of efficiency, guys. Okay? It's about how do you find the person the fastest? And that's what I want for people. And I think that when people try to live together, and this is confirmed by statistics, that it reduces the chances of them staying together for their whole life. And most important, like I was saying, no verbal physical intimacy. No verbal physical intimacy. So, because what does that do? That makes you not logical. So stay logical and scientific. Okay, so stay scientific about this, guys. What else do I want to talk about? I'm not sure, but I do know. Let me just check the chat here, see how things are going. I do know that. Take a picture of this. That I am doing on the street stuff in Waikiki. If anybody watching is not aware, there are performers on the street in Waikiki, both musicians and otherwise, and and I actually am starting to go there every Saturday night, so you can find me somewhere there. And it's every Saturday evening, where I set up and I talk about this on a megaphone. It's actually quite fun. I play some music on a speaker. That would be a good place for me to go live. But I do have to build up my subscribership to 1,000, so that will allow me to go live. But also, I like the formal setting of this. This may feel boring to some, but it's like a scholastic environment. It's like being in a classroom hall where I'm expressing my ideas, and I want input. I want honest feedback. As critical as it may be. Uh, maybe you disagree with me. Well, consider the subject. Okay, what I talk about is interpersonal dynamics, and and I also talk about self-control, stuff like that. So, let's say let's say you are flipping through the channels on TV, and uh, you saw a sports game, like a football game, and then you tuned in. Well, if you were interested in that in football, then you would watch it and you would think about it. I hope just the same for anybody online. If you and then you would want to talk to others about it. If you feel resistant to this type of stuff, then maybe it's just not a subject that you're interested in. And my hope is that it won't be seen as a judgmental thing, like, well, I'm like either an authority or in a better place because I'm you know studying this stuff and trying to apply it. um, but but rather it be just a thing, like, it's like, okay, if you're interested, fine. If not, then fine. Just choose. Just be. This is all about consciousness, guys, and all about your truth. Even I could be talking about any subject here, and but this is what I'm interested in. So if that's where you're going, or maybe you're not interested in this right now, but maybe in the future. But I want to make an interesting argument, and final point is that, at what age should we be interested in marriage? This is something that comes up. You may be aware of some of the red pill content out there. This is kind of going along the same subject of relationships, self-help. When when is it that we're at a mental age of mature? When people say, "Oh, they'll get married at 30 or whatever it may be, or 40," is it because they're at that certain age and they know that they'll eventually die? And I believe in life extension. I believe in living longer lives. So, is it that they're mature enough that they've applied some of, like, this stuff to where they're more precise, and they're able to be select the right person. And you really select the right person when you choose yourself. You choose what you like in life, and you start making it part of your life, and you enter into this love vibration, because love is a consequence of doing stuff that you enjoy doing. Like, love is about how you use your spare time and your spare extra money. And the risk is some guys, it's easy to think that, well, they won the woman over and showed her a good time, and were having fun experiences together. But what happens is, guys, is we end up spending all of our extra time and money, anything we have saved up, and any extra time, we spend it all on the woman. So you got to realize that when you're around women, you're giving them everything you've got, and then hopefully they'll multiply it in a way that is consistent with you. Hopefully you have children and teach them your values. Hopefully they'll use your money and energy, and they'll send it right back to you by being loving of you, and being like your secretary, or being your cheerleader. things to consider. So, yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. We started 54 minutes ago. I think I'll probably. I'm just gonna go an hour. Oh, how funny. Pardon me for not noticing the chat. Good to see you, Nessa. Hope things are good. Um, hey, Roundhouse. What's up, Blind? Um, okay, yeah, I actually uh, my current relation to Mr. G is we have different paths. He and I have different interests, and so we respect that and kind of leave each other alone. I have offered to, if he needs, help in an emergency, which is something I like to do with my friends, is always offer to be there, and we should be each other's emergency contacts. It's a way of entering into a more independent world where we're not so codependent on the government or on all our biological family to be there for us, but we can just depend on everyone. And for example, anyone who we happen to be working with or our neighbors, whoever, we should be able to all, and so let's see. So we don't talk, Nessa, but that doesn't mean that I'm sure that if one of us needed help from the other, we could reach out, But in any case, I'll end with okay. So I'll finish up my last thought I was saying. So about the red pill, like men's content, like alpha male, like there's stuff on the internet that's all about like male empowerment, but it comes from the frame of be rich and make it so you're like the top male and that women want you, but that's like living in the jungle. That's not like the current day and age where you know like they have this idea in like the Muslim culture, and there's this character Andrew Tate out there. He's made himself well known, and he also like gets into these. He's trying to get into the Muslim culture, trying to adopt some of it, and good for him. I mean, some of these age-old traditions, especially the more orthodox ones, they were built to serve us. Things like gender separation, things like no premarital intimacy. It reduces competition in the world and allows men to be more trusting of each other. It allows us to be confident that other men won't try to seduce our sisters or daughters, stuff like that. But what I'm getting at is there's this specific ideology that's presented that women in the West are promiscuous, or I don't want to use other words, but you get the idea, and that other women elsewhere in countries are more pure, are more virgin, if you will. And I think all men would agree that virgins are the most attractive, but by but the math of it, the mathematics of it is that if all women have to be virgins before marriage, that means all men have to be virgins before marriage. And I mean, that's kind of maybe a subject for another day, because it's almost 1 hour. I'll go ahead and end with a meditation. I've done this often in streams in the past. It's a little meditation. It's breathing, and it's imagining people that you're having conflict with, imagining them smiling, imagining a bright white light. Just hold that brilliant light in your hand for a second, orb of bright white light emanating. Throw it wherever you need to. Throw it at anything that's a problem. If it's your problem at work, throw it at the tools or the people you work with. Imagine them smiling. experiencing that light, and it's all about the unified field, guys. That's who we are. We're consciousness. We're interrelated. So but actually the way you actually experience that is by managing your own, like I said, your first three chakras, your needs, desires, and wants. I covered that. Recognizing that we are social creatures and we need to make restrictions, boundaries, in order to trust each other more. And, people seducing each other is pretty common, and it's not the worst thing out there, but there are very bad forces out there. There are people who do very bad things to each other. We know that. Perhaps it's 5% or less of the population. But in order to manage those people, be it imprison them or just, deal with them, we need to coalesce as the other 95% of the population. We need to trust each other more. So all this information I'm presenting may seem like excessive or over dogmatic or too structured, but it's in response to the reality that there are still serious issues in the world and still problems that future generations and our children will be experiencing, and problems that will be repeating. That they'll be repeating, and the only way we stop this cycle of violence is by breathing and not allowing that energy of somebody being rude to you passing it on, and furthermore, just expressing, sharing our life's difficulties and mistakes so that those problems are not passed on. So, much appreciated for considering my thoughts. This has been a long form content. There's also going to be live content coming up soon, in where I'm on the street. I'm talking about subjects like this, and like I might talk to a guy and say, why don't you marry if he's with a girlfriend. I don't know if I'll do something like that, but stuff to that effect, like kind of challenging people on what they're, how committed they are to themselves, and to just bring the frequency of love. Like I said, Roundhouse, I'm not, Mr. G, I wish him well, but I don't, I'm not involved in his life, and, how do you be nice to people, but yet not try to control them? My way of doing that is by recognizing common ground, recognizing projects that we might be working on together, professional or what have you, and also realizing what the differences are, and not trying to change people, because what that ends up doing is it ends up saying, I respect you. Like, I'll give you an example. Like my biological brother, right? He has some values similar to me, but others different, and therefore I don't consider him like a spiritual brother. But to me, and to some, they might feel it's disrespectful, because I'm not like there for him. I'm not like involved in his life. But guess what? I'm actually see it as respect. I'm respecting him, and I'm not trying to force him to agree with me on whatever it is. So it's I think it's been an hour, guys. I want to say aloha, and check out Shield Heart, or come to Waikiki. Let's have some fun. Aloha, guys. Take care. Hey Samsung, have a nice day. Take care. Aloha. Alrighty. Want to stop the stream. Yep.